a lot of times it's harder to deal with the victims. It's almost like a therapist position. And it isn't uncommon for like, and I'm talking about like Fortune level companies that when I get off the call, the CEO calls me directly. He doesn't call the incident guys. He doesn't call his lawyer. He calls me and goes, explain this to me. Like there's something about, I don't know, something about my personality type or something that I seem genuine. I think I am. I think it's real, but like, but I come across that way and I don't like drag him through the mud over it. But yeah, I see the same mistake over and over and over again. Right.
And there, I mean, it's interesting because I mean, I've done the workshop strategy side, and of course, they're always trying to figure out which dollars go where and which sort of plans and plots and schemes, whatever. But I mean, for you, like you're sitting there in the building while the building's burning, essentially, and then they're going, "Oh, like none of that was wrong. We should have probably done what we thought we should have done."
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes the cyber insurance companies are a little bit frustrating too, because their math, th- their math and their motivation is slightly misaligned from the victim. And it's slightly misaligned. And sometimes the victim doesn't pick up on that, but I do because I'm very objective. I see all the different players and I can see what they want to achieve. And sometimes that is a bit frustrating as well.
Well, okay, so you said the word, so I'm going to ask this question. Cyber insurance, right? Like I personally think all insurance is typically the biggest ripoff industry we ever created because it's a great way to fuck people out of their money. And it's the only place where you can pay for a service for decades. And then when you use the service, they increase your cost of using said
Or kick
service.
you out.
Yeah, or they just throw you out the window. But like cyber insurance seems to me to be even more egregious in this space. Like, and I mean, you've seen these organizations where they've been hit and then they come back and go, oh, well, the war clause says we're not going to cover you.
Mhm.
What's your experience of people going through a ransomware event when cyber insurance is involved?
Well, I think so first of all, I'll say that I've had good experiences with cyber insurance providers too. Some of them are better than others. Obviously, that goes without saying. But on the victim side, I think again, almost a cliche mistake I see over and over again is they didn't actually read the policy. And some of the stuff in the policy will dictate order of operations, like and timelines. Like you have to contact a certain person in a certain order at a certain time. If you don't do that, they're out. Right. That's frustrating, and that's frustrating for the victim too, because a lot of times they're doing things right, they're just not doing it the way the contract said, and that's kind of screwed up.
I mean, insurance, the whole model is built around not paying. Like that's how they make money. And
Mhm.
I think that that's a really good point too, is like make sure that you folks, especially small and mid-sized business, like you better understand that policy like
Read
you
it,
wrote it.
read it. Yeah.
At least put the shit into chat
Well, now
GPT.
we have now we have ChatGPT. So if you don't like reading contracts, throw it into ChatGPT and say, "What are my responsibilities?" And it'll just bullet that shit for you. You don't have to
Yeah,
be like, you don't have
exactly.
to sit there by the fireplace and read the fucking thing
Nah.
anymore. But yeah,
So like when you're, I guess, what's the most egregious example of absolute failure you've seen in this whole space without naming names and getting yourself in trouble?
I'm gonna turn this heater off. So I mean, we've seen some really messed up. I'm always concerned, like this has happened a few times. I'm always concerned when, when I get in, I ask a few fundamental questions every time, same ones. One of them is, how's the response process going? How far along are you in your incident response? Kind of get status quo. One is a lot of times the folks don't have a paper copy of it and the actual incident response plan is encrypted. That's happened a few. Yeah, it turns out they didn't memorize it, Chase.
And yeah, the encryption, the response plan is encrypted because it was on the same shit that got hit
Didn't
by
go to the
the.
same shares as everybody else, and they didn't print out a recent copy or whatever. So that's happened a few times. I'm also concerned when I get introduced to the incident response firm. I've never heard of these people before in my life. It's some dude's nephew's company or something.